Hello, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Periscope. Um, I'm pretty sure Periscope is still live, or it's going to be remodeled into Twitter. I have a hard time believing that um, that Twitter's going to walk away completely from the live streaming type experience. I just do. I don't know why I think that, but um, I just do. Hopefully, you had a great Monday. It is almost end of the workday here on the East Coast. I have been heads down today, getting ready for a big presentation tomorrow, where I had a chance to dive into yet another part of the Power Platform. So, just so you know, my name is Frank Lavinia. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Keep saying I'm going to update that graphic. Feel free to leave a comment. I will wait. Yeah, no, that way. There we go. I will read out loud. I actually did a full-on live stream on Saturday, but I did not hit go live on my phone, so I ended up talking to the air for a good 20 minutes. Yeah, it's been that kind of crazy lately, you know. Hopefully you're having a great you had a great Monday. Today I had a chance to really dive into kind of AI Builder. So if you don't know what AI Builder is a part of the Microsoft Power Platform, and it's pretty interesting. And there's a really good article on. Let me see if I can pull up a browser. Um, um, Real quick. In case you're wondering, all of these shows are just improv. All right, makes me a better presenter. All right, let's see what we got. I'm going to hide the chat to give myself a little more real estate here on the screen. This is an interesting story about how robots are coming for white collar jobs. And this stuff tells nicely into kind of what I was doing today. Today, I had the chance to start experimenting with AI Builder and some of our robotic process automation tools, RPA for short. And RPA, I mean, there's really no robots, not like, I don't have a robot here, but not like the R2D2 or C3PO type robots. What they are is basically automating kind of white collar or administrative tasks. And what's fascinating about it is how much easier it's gotten. I was able today to build a classifier, an image classifier, to do object detection 100% without code. Not that I don't like code, but tomorrow I have a presentation with a customer who their specific ask was to see what the low code, no code options are. And that's what I did. I took spent the morning while doing calls and answering emails, but also taking a course from LinkedIn Learning, not LinkedIn Live. I am on LinkedIn Live right now, and building on that. And it's fascinating how easy it was. I mean, zero code. Now I know the computer vision algorithms, like I know that, right? Because my job at the Microsoft Technology Center, I am the AI data and AI architect. I usually on this type of engagement, I would engage my counterpart, awesome fellow. Hope to have him on a live stream. If you're watching, anytime, man, you know where to find me. Have him on the live stream, and we can talk. He can kind of talk about Power Platform in general. But he's double booked. He's already booked for tomorrow. So what's fascinating is, so I was like, just thought, well, it's AI. It's kind of my kind of gray area between his kind of wheelhouse and mine. So I figured I would just learn it. And, it's pretty cool how quickly you can come up with this stuff. In fact, it actually was harder, I think, coming up with sample image data, which speaks to the whole, data being new oil. Getting your hands on some good oil kind of is the hardest part of the whole process. And I think there's a really good data engineering story there too. But I was impressed with how quickly I was able to make a model with just after watching one LinkedIn course and being able to do that. And there's all these other options that are there that I could pipe that into different Power Apps that I have. So I'm definitely even more intrigued than I was about the for Power Platform. And let's see, what else do I got here to show off? No, that's pretty much it. I don't have it on this computer. It has to be on a Microsoft managed machine. This is one of my personal computers. And speaking of personal computers, if you look at my Instagram, let me turn that off real quick. If you look at my Instagram, I've actually had a problem with this desktop. So let's go profile. I had a severe problem actually with this desktop. Apparently, I'll be working just fine on the computer, and all of a sudden everything will freeze, like just completely freeze. In fact, part of the reason I'm doing this live stream on this computer with this setup is see if it freezes. So far, every single freeze except for one has been while I was using a program called Zencastr. Zencastr is how Andy and I record the majority of our podcasts, essentially all of them that are not streamed live originally. And twice in 2 days, at the exact same moment, 15 minutes after using Zencastr, everything locked up. And I actually ran this, the Dell diagnostics on it. And basically, it says that USB cable 2 is loose. So normally that beep codes that you get, I mean, it would just beep when I turn on, has to do with memory. The usage of memory, or there's a problem with the memory, but there wasn't. So apparently, I don't know what is going on. I took the machine apart, and I think what it is that this is a desktop. So normally it's on the ground. I think maybe the dogs pulled something. I opened up the case and I've reset it. Hasn't crashed yet, although the diagnostic program does say that there's still a loose cable. So I don't know what's going on. I'll probably have to take it apart even further and then figure out what's going on. If I'm really brave, I'm going to go into Zencastr and record something real quick. But who knows what's going on? It's just that kind of day. Let's see what else. Today was day 152 of me doing Pluralsight courses. I'm just about 20 minutes from finishing up a Dynamics 365 intro course. Also, I guess technically it's not part of the Power Platform, but it's definitely kind of in that low code, no code space. The two podcasts that we have interviews for are around enterprise resource management type software, CRM and ERP, or enterprise resource planning, which I thought was interesting because there's definitely a solid data story on that side of the house. And oops. And yeah, so it's an interesting platform. It looks like fascinated by the potential. And I have to remember that the stuff I streamed on Saturday I didn't actually stream because I didn't hit the go live button. But it has interesting potential in terms of being able a way to source data. And in a sense, CRM applications, at least the platforms that exist today, whether it's Dynamics on premises or Dynamics or Salesforce or any of the other ones that are out there, in a sense, they're kind of low code, no code solutions, right? Because you have these various platforms and programs and processes, say that 10 times fast, that you go through to define your business processes, whether that's kind of your sales funnel, your customer service, your finance and operations. And most of them are just about customizing your entities and your models and things like that. And Dynamics has a output straight to Data Lake, which you know me, Data Lake is my jam, and I am all about getting access to that raw data where I can start mining with it with the data tools we've all come to know and love. So it's just a fascinating look at a world that has always been kind of tangential to me career-wise. I used to sit on the same floor as the SAP programmers. Um, when I was at a large German chemical company, I have always been kind of tangential to a lot of the Salesforce people, Salesforce.com people. Um, internally we have an instance of Dynamics. I've used that as a user. It's this very interesting kind of look at the backside of that and how extensible and programmable it is, which I never really gave much thought to, honestly. So for that, I am definitely fascinated by what's possible there in terms of capturing the raw data, finding out more about that space. So that's definitely something I'm going to be taking a look at in the near future, because it's just epically cool. um you know me, I'm all about the learning. There's only so many stochastic gradient descent algorithms and XGBoost you can deal with. Not just kidding, AI is where my heart is. But it's just a fascinating look at things. Speaking of cool things, I'm actually speaking on quantum computing at a user group. The last physical user group I spoke at was in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I will be speaking there virtually this time on quantum computing, probably an intro to quantum development, because now I've kind of gotten to the point where I have the Q Sharp runtime installed. I'm writing code. I mostly understand the math, way better understand the math than I did a year ago. Conceptually, I was there, but not, the math. I've finished a couple of books. Since then, I've read 3 or 4 books on quantum computing, listened to 1 book on quantum physics. So I got to get a better stand for that, because every time I put my hand on the desk, the camera rocks. Having to take apart your main streaming rig and rip out all the USB connections, because it's not exactly clear if it wasn't a motherboard based USB cable. My assumption that it was, but I basically unplugged every attachment that I had, including the Stream Deck and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting day, that's for sure. Definitely a Monday, that's for sure. So tomorrow I have a really interesting engagement. Can't say who it's with, but it's cool. But it did give me the opportunity to just say, you know what, I'm going to block some time out and I'm going to learn AI Builder. It's a fascinating product. Like I said, if you caught the earlier part of the stream, if you want me to kind of do the brave thing and do kind of live streaming coding or with it, I'm happy to do that. That's something that my counterpart Andy Leonard is notorious for, doing his live coding sessions. I haven't done that yet. Part of it is that depending on how you define code, I don't get a chance to kind of just sit down and write code for hours on hours. Mostly what I do is architecture. And I do write code, don't get me wrong. I do write, code for kind of like, okay, let's do some data exploration stuff. But, and let's run some models, and let's, Python notebooks and things like that. But that traditional kind of, workflow, I really should do that. Not that I don't do it, but I haven't done it lately, because the majority of work I do right now is presentations and architecture type talk. When I was building out my, actually, that's not true. I actually did some coding last week. That's how crazy this has been. So I actually did some coding last week on for Frank's World. So if you look at franksworld.com, I modified. All right, so you have Power Platform. Let's see if I still have window up, or did I close it? Did I do the dumb thing and close out? Aha! No, I did do the dumb thing and I closed out the window. All right, let me show you this. Let me show you. Can I transfer that tab to this window? It looks like I can. So I have a number of things I built here, not in this tenant though. So I'd have to swap tenants, which is very confusing. But ultimately, what I do have is I do have the ability now to integrate with the um, YouTube APIs. So what I did was I have a series of tools that I use the YouTube APIs if I decide I want to post a video on Frank's World, I basically give it the video code and this, for instance, and I can extract kind of the metadata about it through the API. I used to have a screen scraping method that did it, but the screen scraping method was limited in some ways. So what I do now is I make a call to the API, and okay, eventually it'll load. Frank's World is a victim of its own success. I'm actually outgrowing my current hosting plan. So if you have any recommendations for a hosting plan that can reasonably cost accommodate a site that gets 3.5 million page views per year, I'm on track probably to hit 3 to 4 million. So I'm saying 3.5 for this year, assuming everything goes well. But ultimately, so the tags and stuff I pull in from the YouTube API. So there was no correct connector. There is a connector for, let's start from, let me do a blank template. Start from new. So if you look at YouTube, the connector for YouTube right now is, I don't want to say underwhelming, but it's underwhelming. There's only but so many things you can do with it. So what I found out you can do is actually, let's see. Is this my tenant? That's not the tenant. So if I create this, I have to connect on this tenant. Ultimately, what I did was I made just a plain REST API call using kind of the code that I had and stuff like that, and it can more easily create a blog post straight through the WordPress connection. That was pretty cool, and most of the posts, about half the posts that were made on Friday, I was experimenting with this on Friday, were generated that way. There is still some work that needs to be done. So if you ever go to Frank's World, you'll see post is either marked as uncategorized or in with no thumbnail. Yeah, this post, and this post was all created through the through my YouTube connector and Power Apps. Everything I've created today, everything went to the site today, and the first post for tomorrow was created using the Power Automate desktop process I have in place. Just mucking around with it, and it's been really good. I have to say, I'm impressed, because ultimately what I want to do is I want to shorten the cycle between when I get an idea or I see something I want to post and actually doing it. My ultimate goal is to get to the point where I can be on a phone or a tablet and do it. Right now, most of my workflow requires a desktop. If I can get that to the point where it's 100% mobile, where instead of in the YouTube app, I can say watch later, I can just kind of like say blog this. That is the ultimate goal. And I have a few other kind of moonshot ideas too, but not ready to talk about those. Just like our secret project Andy and I are working on. Project Ringgate, we're calling it. I'm contemplating doing a soft launch. So if you want to kind of stay tuned to what's going on, check out the URLs below. We'll announce it probably soon if we do the soft launch. Which reminds me, I have to go. So I hope you had a great Monday. I will endeavor to stream tomorrow, probably after my engagement starts real early, but it does end early. So yay. You have a fantastic evening or afternoon or morning, whatever time of the day it is on your side of the planet. Catch you later.